Hi everyone, this is Sarah. So a few days ago, I came across this article that I was so afraid to click on because it was telling me that I was doing it all wrong. So I finally cracked it open and took a brief look at it. And I was shocked to see how right they are. I mean, whoever wrote this article, whoever that might be. So I kept reading and man, I was sucked into this thing. It was amazing. It made a huge ton of sense. It was like a bucket of ice poured down my bare brain. I could not believe that I was doing it all wrong. Although I always had a little voice at the back of my mind telling me, Sarah, you might want to dial it down a bit. It seems to be ruining your focus. And it shows. But as I kept ignoring the voice, the problem got bigger and bigger, and I was multitasking even more intensely, and my brain was even more agitated. And then I read the article. I was like, have I been ruining my brain thinking I was getting more done now? Okay, maybe I shouldn't do the eggs. Oh no, that can't be true. I mean, come on. I've been priding myself on my productive little secret, although I was always in an agonizing rush, but at least I kept getting things done. I mean, come on. Can't you see how much I stuffed my brain with information while doing passive chores? How much of those dead hours I have resurrected only by plugging myself in while doing it? What, you're saying all of this was a sham and I have not gained anything other than just some cracks on my gray matter? I thought to myself, that can't be true. But then it hit me. It hit me like a brick wall. I remember that I'm thinking with a brain that is a bit broken, according to the article. How could I even trust my brain now? Yeah. That's how strange it gets. Okay, enough of that. Before I go completely insane, I'm gonna read this article and put it into this brain battle once and for all. Okay, let's see what it's blabbering on about. So let's read it together. A number of studies show multitasking makes you less efficient and effective. Alright, okay, that seems a bit scary, but go on. Other research shows multitasking actually makes you stupid. Okay, alright, now we're getting straight into the battle. Alright, I can see where this is going, but keep going, man. I'm not scared. I eat philosophy for dinner. Neuroscience is just a snack. A study published in the New Atlantic found that multitasking lowers your IQ by 10 points. I get it. You're telling me I'm just 10 times dumber now. A bit insulting, but we're gonna keep reading, okay? We're stronger than that. As the researchers write, it's really not that amusing that the most common productivity tools like email, Slack, text, etc. can make one as dumb as a stoner. Researchers write, it's not amusing at all, given the fact that most of us actually do those things. And it says, that's why productive people focus on doing one thing at a time. They do that one thing incredibly well, and then they move on to whatever is next. They do that incredibly well as well, alright? I think they could have just said they don't multitask. Was it so hard to boil it down to one word? And it says that they don't parallel process, simply because it's impossible. If you think about it, we can't hold two thoughts in our brain simultaneously. So yeah, you may be working on two things at once, but not really. You're doing a whole lot of switching back and forth, and that switching comes at a cost. So it goes on to give the example of Napoleon and his mental cupboards. Let's see what is the cupboard theory. So Napoleon, if you don't know Napoleon, I can tell you a bit about that guy, if I may. Where do I begin? Basically, he's a former emperor of the French, whatever that means. Basically, a great guy, a genius leader. Yeah, I did an extensive research for you guys. You gotta appreciate that. So now that we all know quite a bit about Napoleon, let's proceed. Here's how those cupboard works. Napoleon was able to compartmentalize his life to quite a remarkable degree. He could entirely close off one part of his mind to what was going on in the rest of it. He himself likened it to being able to open and close drawers in a cupboard. And while I was reading this, I was like, heck, that sounds familiar. That sounds like when my ADHD kicks in. It's a very clear description of my hyperfixation, that's for sure. What's going on here? So the article goes on to say, while that sounds more like attention deficit than focus, keep in mind that Napoleon, like you, had a lot going on. We may not be trying to take over Europe, but we all wear many hats. Plus, Napoleon wasn't attempting to parallel process, he was a relentless serial processor. And Napoleon himself goes on to say, different subjects and different affairs are arranged in my head as in a cupboard. When I wish to interrupt one train of thought, I shut that drawer and open another. Do I wish to sleep? I simply close all the drawers, and there I am, asleep. But wait a minute, I read all of this, and I'm still in the dark about my specific problem. Do I get dumber when I'm listening to something while doing a mentally passive activity like washing the dishes? So I kept scouring through this article, and it has an answer. It says if one or more tasks are capable of being automated as reflexes, meaning it's like very habitual and it's almost done without your awareness, like a muscle memory type of situation. If that is the case, then they can easily be engaged simultaneously with another task without much consequences. And there's another interesting part of this article. It read, simple physical tasks that require little to no thought aren't distracting. In fact, as some studies show, doing mindless tasks can actually boost your level of creativity and innovation. So I have to say something here. I figure that when I am physically active, for instance, when I'm exercising or even drawing on paper, I have such a better focus. And I find myself coming up with ideas faster than when I'm less active. Also, I find it extremely easier to focus on a podcast or audiobooks while I am doing mindless chores. I mean, there has to be something there. And to string it back to the cupboard analogy, it says, in this case, if you open one cupboard to do something you don't have to think about, then it's okay to crack open another cupboard. And no one says your entire focus has to be applied to unloading the dishes. So there you have it. I wasn't actually losing my mind. You can trust me now. But what was making me dumber was listening to something while being in the initial stages of my drawing. And I knew that it was wrong because in the beginning of drawing, you have to focus on coming up with the shapes and forms of the objects you want to draw. And there's like no space in your mind that can be dedicated to something else. So if you want to listen to something while drawing, you can do it when you're in the very passive stages of drawing, when you're actually just coloring it and you don't need to think too much about any sort of processes that you're going through. So you have to keep in mind that if it does take a bit of focus, then you have to completely just get rid of all the noises in the background and just be doing it in the silence, because silence actually heals your brain in a way. Focus is the foundation of creativity. So the only thing that we need to be so freaking vigilant about is improving our focus and doing activities that challenges our brain to focus on a deeper level. And also doing activities like exercise, walking, and painting on a big canvas, because you get to use your hand in a way and it's just going to engage your brain on a deeper level. I can vouch for that. If you're dealing with natural paints, you're gonna be much more focused, like not digital, okay? You can switch to traditional for a while just to improve your focus. And yeah, that's it. I thought that I'd let you know on what I learned from this article. Have a nice day and stay creative.